To build this layout, I open up the activity_main XML file. I know that I need a vertical linear layout to put each of these views in a vertical column. So I'm going to first change the relative layout into a linear layout. Immediately, it shows an error saying that the opening tag does not match the closing tag. So I can just copy this over and then paste it down here. Now the tags match. Next, I can add in the views. First, I have a quantity text view. So I'm going to take this text view and then change the text inside to quantity. Next, I have a text view that says 0. So I can copy the first text view and paste it below it. I'm going to change it so the text says 0 to match the screenshot here. The last child in this linear layout is a button. We haven't added a button before in our layout, so let's Google search that. If you open up a browser, you can search for button Android. This first link looks good. It's a developer.android.com site. And here's the documentation for button. We can ignore most of this text here. We scroll down to read the class overview. It talks a little bit about some Java code, which we haven't learned yet. But down here, we have some XML for a button. We can copy this and see what it does in our code. In our layout, I'm going to add a button below these two text views. I'm going to paste the code from the documentation here. And now, instead of the self-destruct string, I'm going to go for something a little friendlier like order. This last line we can also delete because we don't need it. Cool, so now I should have a quantity text view, a text view that says 0, and an order button. Let's run it on our app to see what it looks like by hitting this green play button. You can see down here that it's still building. Uh-oh, this isn't what we wanted. It appears that our linear layout is actually horizontal instead of vertical. So let's make sure that we add the orientation attribute. We're going to change this to say Android orientation equals vertical. That should fix the problem. So let's hit run again. Okay, that's better now. The 3 children are showing up in a vertical column. Now we just need to style these views so they look a little bit more like the screenshot we were given. From this screenshot, we see that the quantity text view is in all caps. In lesson 1, we learned about an attribute called Android text all caps, and it's showing up here in the autocomplete. If it shows up like this, you can just hit enter and it automatically adds it in the code here for you. We set that value to be true because we want it in all caps. The reason why it's better to use this attribute to capitalize the text is because if we ever want to change the UI so that quantity is in lowercase like this, all we need to do is just remove this attribute instead of going and changing this text. Next, for this text view that says 0, we should use a text size of 16 SP. Let me add that now. And it shows up in the autocomplete suggestions, so I just hit enter, and then I choose 16 XP for the value. We also want it to be a black font color. I'm going to use the Android system color for black, which is referred to like this. Cool, that takes care of both the quantity and the 0 text views. The order button is fine as is. It will automatically capitalize the text for you in a button, and the height and width are wrap content. We do, however, need to resolve this vertical space here. We want 16 dp of padding or margin in between the quantity and the 0 text views. We also want 16 dp of padding in between the 0 and the order button. You can implement this in many different ways. I'm just going to choose to add it as layout top margin for this button. And I'm going to add it as a bottom margin for this quantity text view. Feel free to do it a different way as long as it looks the same. The reason why I chose to do a bottom margin and a top margin is because I know that this middle area here is going to change later. We're going to change it to be a quantity picker with a plus and minus button, and I still want to have 16 dp of space between the quantity title and the picker. And same for the button. Okay, let's run it again now on our device. Cool, and it looks just like we wanted. The quantity text view is in all caps, the 0 text view is in black font color, size 16 SP, and we have the order button here. We also have 16 dp of space in between these views. Good job. Oh, and I almost forgot. The quiz also asks for what happens when you click on this button. Well, actually it does nothing. For now, at least. Keep watching to find out what happens next.